I would never be an entrepreneur or, survive all the things that I need to face on a daily basis if I was not an optimistic person.
It's like good enough, so you gotta be great, and I'ma do whatever it takes. Doing what I love in life, and I'll pay the price, and not stopping even if the shit kills me, even if it kills me.
3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show MattGron Talks, and this is episode I don't remember, but so yeah, maybe
166.
166. And my name is Mattias Gronborg, aka MattGron, and here I share my scaling up journey, building my company from nothing to something. And of course, as you know, my dear friend and co-host, Svea-Malina Landshoff.
Hi, Mattias. Yeah,
Hi.
My job is, as you just said, keep us on track. Tell Mattias the episode number before every single recording. But I love to do that. That's my job. And welcome to MattGron Talks also from our remote office here in Åkersberga. And this is where entrepreneurship runs smack into reality. That's the theme of the show. That's what we do here. And Mattias is our entrepreneur, and I have questions for him every week. And we do have different topics on Monday, Wednesday, and on Fridays. Mattias, do you want to take away the framework?
Yeah, we have a framework for you guys to run this a little bit more smooth. And every Monday, we talk about self-development, and I share my own journey growing as a human being and a leader. And then every Wednesday, we talk about all the things I'm learning in the entrepreneurial process, building my company. And then every Friday, we talk about my weekly self-inventory, and I share things that I could have done differently. Everything is all about developing some self-awareness, and I also talk about what I have learned, and we are celebrating
the victories. Thank you for the framework, Mattias. Let's jump right into our Monday episode then. And today, the topic is positive mindset or being optimistic. And I can imagine it's quite important in all kinds of areas.
Mystic.
Yeah. I mean, it's important, I think, for all kinds of areas in our life. And, sometimes when I sit down and think about topics, I feel like, didn't we talk about this before? And I realize, yes, I asked you this very first question probably 150 episodes ago, one of the very first ones. So I think we can take it up again and maybe go a bit more into depth about it today.
Okay.
So here,
what did I answer then?
Yeah, good question. We can compare that later and see maybe you changed your mind in this year in between the episodes. But my first question is pretty straightforward. So how would you consider yourself generally? Do you think you are an optimist, a pessimist, a realist? How would you describe yourself?
I'm like what do you say in English? Chameleon. Is that an English word?
Okay, a chameleon. Okay, you're changing colors.
Chameleon. I think somewhere, deep in my core, I'm a optimist. Mm-hmm. But I also think I'm also very realistic in some situations. Yeah. And
Yeah, funny, because I thought about myself as well. Sometimes I try to answer these questions when I prepare them for you, because sometimes you turn the question back and I want to be prepared. So I think I'm similar. I'm also someone, I would say I'm probably a realist with a tendency to optimism. I think that's how I would describe myself. And what would you say, what maybe are some, because you said you are kind of like a chameleon, what are some situations where you would say you're rather maybe on the pessimistic spectrum where you're more optimistic? Do you have some examples there?
I think I would never be an entrepreneur or, survive all the things that I need to face on a daily basis if I was not an optimistic person, as I said, in my core. But I think every time I try to do like create a budget or something, I'm like super optimistic. So I still remember the first business plan I created for iGoMoon.
Yeah.
I think last year we were past the 10 million revenue mark, and we were probably like 100 people already. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, sometimes people always let me know that, reminding me about my optimistic business plan. So yeah.
But that sounds like, yeah, I mean, that sounded very optimistic to me. I actually thought, oh, maybe Mattias is one of those people who might be very pessimistic when it comes to budget, very careful. But
So I think the thing is that sometimes I could be, more kind towards myself, maybe not have like a pessimistic mindset towards myself, but that still means, I can have a very optimistic view of where I want to take the company and, set the goals around the company. So I think that's what I meant when I said the chameleon.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
So,
and how do you think I mean, you just said earlier that, being an entrepreneur, you probably wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you would be an optimist. So
you will give up then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that's kind of what I wanted to ask you as well. Like, how do you think it influences your business, this positive mindset?
If I'm optimistic, I think that will affect the company in a positive way.
Okay.
Right?
Even if
or was that the question?
Yeah, that was the question. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I just said you said it earlier. But do you think that you are just naturally that kind of person that is, usually looking on the bright side of life, or is there something you learned over time to be optimistic?
I think this is actually not some. This is something you can't change, really. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, of course, maybe you have different episodes in your life. I don't know. Like today, I'm not. So yeah, I'm not. I don't feel that depth to talk about this subject.
Yeah, today you're a pessimist about the episode. Okay. Now let's add some depth.
Well, because then. I feel my answer is just they sound very simple. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I think in my core, going through all the things I have been going through in my life, I think I need to be optimistic to be able to come out on the other side. Yeah. And I know, in some situations I could be very realistic.
What kind of situations?
When if I have a bad day or something, I think I have a tendency to approach it very realistic. Like, okay, is this really possible? Will it happen?
Yeah.
And very often then I need to find something to become grateful over,
Yeah.
If I can just find something, even the smallest thing to be grateful for, then I know I can turn that around and I can feel how that optimism will almost start growing again, kind of quick, and that's how I turn it around. So I think that the gateway for me to stay positive and optimistic is gratefulness.
Thank you for sharing that, because you just said I feel like the answers are very simple, but I know what you mean, but I also sometimes feel that that's not a bad thing if answers are simple. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And you just said something what I wanted to ask you as well, if you have these days where you, like you said, maybe you are in a bad mood or are rather pessimistic or realistic, what you do. You just shared that for you, the biggest thing there is being grateful for something. I think that's a great tip. And I was about to ask you, what do you do on these days? And when you think about things to be grateful, do you have an example what that could be on a day like that, what you would think about, and then your optimism would start growing again?
Let's be realistic.
Yeah, okay, let's be realistic. I love that.
I mean, growing a business, building a business, it's hard. And it definitely takes 3 times longer than you expect, even more. And if I thought that, where I'm now at the 10 years mark, I as I said, I thought we would be like 10 times bigger. So then it's very important for me to think about all the things I have learned over the years, like what I have, gone through, and what we have actually achieved with the company. And then I can start to turn that around. And I can also, if I also read about other entrepreneurs, sometimes it took like 30 years to even create the company that people today sees like a success. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it will maybe take another 10 years before I'm at a place where I hope to be, where I what I actually put up like a goal for the company. So I think in one way, if I look back and I start connecting the dots, what we've been through, what I've been through, and like where I'm today, it's always easier to look at the future and, in one way.
Yeah.
Here comes the sun.
Nice. Thank you.
Like, does it make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I think that might also be a good reminder for someone watching. Maybe there is someone watching who just started out and feels frustrated about things. Listen to Mattias. It's a long journey, and like you said, the sun is gonna come again, right? And keep up the good mood. Otherwise, you won't survive. So, I would say that's a wrap for today. Thank you, Mattias, as always, for sharing your input. Even though you thought it was simple, I think it was still a very good input that you gave there. Maybe it helps the one or the other person watching. Who knows? That would be great. If it helped you, then maybe you want to consider subscribing and like this video. Also, if you have any questions, we're always happy about ideas for future topics and answer your questions. And otherwise, I would say hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode, and see you in the next one.
Yeah. Let's be realistic.
Yes.
You need to be optimistic to build your company. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.